How to Layer Your Tracks Like a Pro Worship Edition. I'm Joey Vanna. We're at the Sanctuary in my studio. This is the Noiz Hub Media channel. Eric's behind the camera as usual. Let's get into it. My goal today is whether you're a seasoned vet or you're somebody new, I just want to give you tips for inspiration, but also to help you maybe for something you haven't done before, to help take your worship production from here to here. Just get you over that hump. All right, so we're going to start with percussion, which is super important. Because if your percussion is not kicking, literally, it's not going to happen. Like the tune is just not going to have the feel that it needs. So I want to show you a couple of little tricks in percussion first. Number one, shaker. Shaker always. If you're thinking, should I put shaker? Put 2 shakers. There's never enough shaker in this type of music. Let me show you. We got this one going right here. All right, super solid, right? Now we're using some programmed drums. Let me put that in. Now when you hear that, you're going to recognize the snare drum is tuned very low. In worship music, the snare drum literally can never be tuned low enough. There's all those memes online of people hitting a floor tom instead of a snare. That's real life. If you can get it lower, get it lower. From there, in that track, I also have a tambourine. So let me go to actually the chorus and show you that. So we've got drums, shaker. Now, that tambourine in the background really helps solidify the groove. And all these things, once we get to putting the guitars in, are going to feel really neat, and it's going to really push the chorus. Now, the last trick that I want to show you with percussion when you're working in worship tunes is a lot of times they use a lot of out-of-the-box stuff, like claps and wood blocks and things like that to kind of give a little counter groove to it. Why that's important is because worship music is meant to kind of be one where you're one with the tune, right? It's got the message, but it's deeper than that. They want it to be where you not only understand it, but you feel it, right? So when you add something like a clap, it gives somebody an opportunity to join in. So let me show you in this pre-chorus how I take it to the next level. So let me play you the pre without the clap, and I'm gonna add it in so you hear what that's adding. Okay, that's not bad. Like we're grooving, we feel good, the acoustic guitar is grooving, we're doing everything we need to do. But let's add that clap, and then you're gonna hear how you're gonna take it from what sounds like pretty close to done to, oh, that's finished. Immediately, right? The groove is just right up front. Now you can envision the vocals. It makes the bass feel better. It just does everything that modern worship music is looking for. And yeah, it might be used a lot, but sometimes things are done a lot of times because they're the right thing. So don't overthink it. Just do what feels right. All right, so now that we've kind of gone through the percussion and things like that, we're going to take a look at keys. Keys are a little bit, I think, easier because it's straightforward. A lot of worship tunes, you've got that big washed out keyboard. So let's hear that. This is a piano here. Now, I am no savant piano player, so it's not going to have anything too crazy going on in it. But it gets the job done and it sounds like genre specific. It sounds good. Now, what we added on top of that is something that's just a little bit more movement. Now, you might say to yourself, well, that's really distracting. That's not going to help the tune. No, in these songs, we need as many melodies as possible. In worship music especially, you just need lots of melodies, something that someone can grasp onto. Because while there's the message, you want to also grab them in so that they find their own message in it. And I feel, to me personally, when you have a lot of counter melodies, it really helps. It just helps people find their spot in the song. So after that, this is probably the most important thing. When you listen to a lot of modern day worship stuff, it has a pad in it, but a pad that's not bright. It's something dark. It's just that low end kind of pushing through. And when I hear a track and it doesn't have that, it doesn't have the feel that we need. It's kind of like listening to country music and there not being an acoustic guitar, or listening to country and there not being some like mandolin, or just aspects that are supposed to be there, like that we know we want to hear. So let me show you what I have for the pad in this tune, and I'm going to solo it because I want you to hear it. That's typical worship pad, nice and low. All the notes are elongated and all that stuff. So let's take a look at that. If I play this part without it, now I bring it in, right? It's gonna be subtle, but it's worth it. Take a listen. Now you'll hear like in the background, it's not up front, but you'll hear in the background, everything just feels full. It's like the whole track has meaning all of a sudden. Now I have one little trick that I want to show you that I feel like is a big learning thing here. You might think pads are kind of hard to create, and I thought the same thing for a long time, but let me show you the trick that made me understand them completely. One, you don't need expensive VSTs and all that stuff to get the sound. So I'm using Logic, and I am using a preset called, oh, here it is. So I'm using a preset called Warm Synth Pad. I'm not doing anything to it, right? Okay, that sounds good, but here's the problem. Too much high end. We want it to not take over any space from any of the high end spectrum. So what you do is, again, we're not using anything crazy. We're using Logic's built-in EQ. We turn that on. I'm just gonna filter all the way to 1K. Now that seems like it's really drastic and a lot, but take a look at that. We're filtering all the way to 1K. Now listen to it with that in it. Done. That's it. You now have a pad that'll sit in the background, that'll do exactly what the other one did, and super fast, super easy, and you didn't need to buy a bunch of stuff. You didn't need to be some crazy piano player going through all the sounds and everything. Anybody can do it, I promise you. You just have to listen for the right sounds. All right, so now we've gone through keys, we've gone through percussion, now we're gonna get to guitars. I'm a guitar player, so there's definitely a good amount of layers, but they're all necessary. So let's see. I'm just going to play you all the guitars soloed. Now earlier we talked about that melody. You can hear there's multiple guitars playing melodies and we haven't even heard the vocals, but that is something that somebody can lock into. They can hear that in the background. They might even like that more than the vocal, because you have to remember, the message is what's most important. It's nothing else other than that. It's making people feel that thing in the tune. All right, so real quick, I'm just gonna show you how to get a couple of these layers going. So first, you're gonna have your acoustic. Always do it gonna have your acoustic. Always do it left and right, because with this style of music, we want it to be lush, big, huge, larger than life, because it has to just feel big at all times. So you do a left and right of acoustic. Don't edit it. Let it swing a little bit. That's where we get our chorus. Don't do it. Just play it a couple of times, get it right. That sounds nice and big, straight to the point. Now we're gonna add in a tried and true distorted guitar. Again, left and right. And again, don't edit it. Play it right. Let it be left and right. Okay, so now that we have that guitar, let's listen to it. Now, an important lesson here, don't over distort the guitars. You want clean distortion, but not heavy distortion, and reverb is your friend. I should have said that at the beginning. Reverb is your friend like no other when it comes to worship music. It's when in doubt, you add shaker, and when in doubt, you add reverb. On these tracks, I have it, both of them have verb on it, and it's a relatively bigger one, just because I want it to sit back in the track. I don't want it up front. I want to feel that layer. Now, to me, the most important part is these melody guitars. So that melody in the background kind of sucks me in a little bit. It makes the chorus make sense. Like if I play this chorus to you, everything in but that guitar, it doesn't have that vibe. It needs that layer. Those 3 points, you've got the shaker, the pad, and that counter melody guitar. Those are the things that are going to make your tune stand out. That's what's going to take your production, from being something that maybe was a little bit more bedroom vibe. And there's nothing wrong with doing bedroom because we're all learning, right? But it's taking it from there to something where somebody says, this feels professional, it feels well done. And those are the moves that are really important for you to get there. And that's the whole point of this video. I just want to help you take your stuff from point A to point B in a professional manner, because I wish somebody had explained these layers to me and I didn't have to take 10 years to figure them out. So I will play you now the whole track with all the layers that we have. And if you have any questions about anything else, you want me to go deeper into what I used for getting the sounds, comment below, like and subscribe, ask me, and I can't wait to make that video if it's something that you want to see. So let's listen to this chorus out, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you.